Edward Henry Ned Harriman was an American railroad executive. Biography. Early years. Harriman was born on February 20, 1848 in Hempstead, New York, the son of Orlando Harriman, Sr., an Episcopal clergyman, and Cornelia Nielsen. He had a brother, Orlando Harriman, Jr. His great-grandfather, William Harriman, emigrated from England in 1795 and engaged successfully in trading and commercial pursuits. As a young boy, Harriman spent a summer working at the Greenwood Iron Furnace in the area owned by the Robert Parker Parrott family that would become Harriman State Park. He quit school at age 14 to take a job as an errand boy on Wall Street in New York City. His uncle Oliver Harriman had earlier established a career there. By age 22, he was a member of the New York Stock Exchange. Career. Harriman's father-in-law was president of the Ogdensburg and Lake Champlain Railroad Company, which aroused Harriman's interest in upstate New York transportation. In 1881, Harriman acquired the small, broken-down Lake Ontario Southern Railroad. He renamed it the Sodus Bay and Amp Southern, reorganized it, and sold it to the Pennsylvania Railroad at considerable profit. This was the start of his career as a rebuilder of bankrupt railroads. Harriman was nearly 50 years old when in 1897 he became a director of the Union Pacific Railroad. By May 1898, he was chairman of the executive committee, and from that time until his death his word was law on the Union Pacific system. In 1903, he assumed the office of president of the company. From 1901 to 1909, Harriman was also the president of the Southern Pacific Railroad. The vision of a unified up-SP railroad was planted with Harriman. At the time of his death, Harriman controlled the Union Pacific, the Southern Pacific, the St. Joseph and Grand Island, the Illinois Central, the Central of Georgia, the Pacific Mail Steamship Company, and the Wells Fargo Express Company. Estimates of his estate ranged from $70 million to $100 million. It was left entirely to his wife. Harriman Estate. In 1885, Harriman acquired Arden, the 7,863 acres Parrott family estate in the Ramapo Highlands near Tuxedo, New York, for $52,500. Over the next several years he purchased almost 40 different nearby parcels of land, adding 20,000 acres, and connected all of them with 40 miles of bridle paths. His 100,000 square feet residence, Arden House, was completed only 7 months before he died. In the early 1900s, his sons W. Averell Harriman and E. Roland Harriman hired landscape architect Arthur P. Kroll to landscape many acres. In 1910, his widow donated 10,000 acres to the state of New York for Harriman State Park. The Harriman-Alaska Expedition in 1899. Harriman sponsored and accompanied a scientific expedition to catalog the flora and fauna of the Alaska coastline. Many prominent scientists and naturalists went on the expedition aboard the luxuriously refitted 250-foot steamer George W. Elder. Personal life. In 1879, Harriman married Mary Williamson Averell, daughter of William J. Averell, a banker in Ogdensburg, New York. Together they had Mary Harriman, who married Charles Carey Rumsey, a sculptor. Henry Nielsen Harriman, Cornelia Harriman Gerry, who married Robert Livingston Gerry, Sr., Carol A. Harriman, William Averell Harriman, the Secretary of Commerce under President Harry S. Truman, the 48th Governor of New York, the U.S. Ambassador to the Soviet Union and U.S. Ambassador to Britain. He was married 3 times, first to Kitty Lanier Lawrence, then Marie Norton Whitney, then lastly Pamela Beryl Digby Churchill Hayward. Edward Roland Noel Harriman, who married Gladys Fries. Interest in jiujitsu. Harriman became interested in jiujitsu after his 2-month visit to Japan in 1905. When he returned to America, he brought with him a troupe of 6 Japanese jiu-jitsu wrestlers, including the prominent judokas Sunjiro Tomita and Mitsuyo Mida. Among many performances, the troupe gave an exhibition that drew 600 spectators in the Columbia University Gymnasium on February 7, 1905. Death. Harriman died on September 9, 1909 at his home, Arden, at 1:30 p.m. At age 61, naturalist John Muir, who had joined him on the 1899 Alaska expedition, wrote in his eulogy of Harriman, "In almost every way, he was a man to admire." Harriman was buried at the St. John's Episcopal Church Cemetery in the hamlet of Arden, near his estate. Legacy. Award. In 1913, his widow created the E. H. Harriman Award to recognize outstanding achievements in railway safety. The award has been presented on an annual basis since then. Namesakes. The Union Pacific Harriman Dispatch Center in Omaha, Nebraska, is named for Edward H. Harriman. Harriman Glacier in Alaska's Chugach National Forest, located in Whittier, Alaska, was named for him by the Harriman Alaska Expedition. 2 post offices in Oregon were named for Harriman, including the one at Rocky Point, where he maintained a summer camp for several years. Financial and business publisher Harriman House is named after Harriman. The city of Sparks, Nevada was known as Harriman during its early existence. Places built using funds donated from his sponsorship or estate. Harriman founded the Tompkins Square Boys Club, now known as the Boys Club of New York. The original club, founded in 1876, was located in the rented basement of the Wilson School in Manhattan's Lower East Side, and began with 3 boys. Harriman's idea for the club was to provide a place for the boys, so as to get them off the streets and teach them better manners. By 1901, the club had outgrown its space. Harriman purchased several lots on 10th and Avenue West, and a 5-story clubhouse was completed in 1901. Inheritance taxes from Harriman's estate, in the amount of $798,546 paid by his widow on March 1, 1911 to the state of Utah, helped fund the construction of the state's capital. Landmark. His estate, Arden, was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1966. Notable quotations: "Much good work is lost for the lack of a little more. Cooperation means, do as I say, and do it damn quick." Single quote. In popular culture, Harriman is mentioned in the movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, as the commercial baron whose agents become the title character's nemesis. In the film's second train robbery, a railroad employee ascribes his refusal to cooperate with the robbery to his obligations to Harriman personally, and one of Butch and Sundance's intimates describes Harriman's hiring of famed outlaw hunters to track down the gang's leaders. In the movie The Wild Bunch, a railroad official named Harrigan takes the same strategy.